What a reporter leaves out of a story is often more important than what they put in. So when we look at the video of what was happening last night in Charlotte and the night before, sure, we see lots of videos of black mob violence. We see lots of videos of cops throwing tear gas. And we see lots of white people getting beat up, stuff like that. But we don't see anybody connecting the dots. We don't see anybody saying, hey, not only was this whole thing built on a lie, so are dozens of other episodes of black mob violence built on a lie. I mean, I'm thinking of Milwaukee. That's basically identical to Charlotte, right? It's like, oh yeah, well, this black guy got shot. He was, on his way to church. He's a nice kid, and the cops shot him for no reason whatsoever later on, other than having a gun and pointing a gun at the cops. So we see this a lot, and nobody's connecting the dots. And instead of connecting the dots and giving us the real picture, the real pattern, everybody's coming up with these phony baloney excuses. I heard the governor of North Carolina last night, hours and hours and hours after he should have sent the National Guard in and state police in, he's on Fox News at around 9:30, 10 o'clock saying, well, this is all because of social media. Then I heard a couple other people on Fox, Dr. Ben Carson, he was talking about, well, this is all because of bad schools. We got to have charter schools. That'll do it. Okay, see, this is why I don't get into the causes and solutions. Because there's something really, really bad here, but people are taking their eyes off of it in order to blame. On one hand, we've got social media. Over here, we've got bad schools. Over here, we got fatherlessness. Over here, we got motherlessness. Over here, we've got poverty. Over here, it's everything. But by the way, the protesters on the street, they're not buying into all those excuses. There's only one reason only that they are out there. It's because of black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything, especially why cops in Charlotte are always picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. And so we'll do more on Charlotte, but there's just so much video out there. I mean, I feel like you guys have probably already seen a lot of it. Okay, so while we're focusing on Charlotte, there's nothing going on in the rest of the country. What about Stockton? Now, Drudge did this story this morning. I got it yesterday, and I was trying to figure out what to do with it. There was a big Black Lives Matter protest in Stockton, California. I think what you might say it's in the Central Valley, maybe kind of close to San Francisco, in Sacramento, that neck of the woods. So a mother and her two daughters are coming out of a restaurant. Next thing you know, they're having the hell beat out of them. Next thing you know, there's a Facebook page where the people involved in beating the hell out of her are bragging about beating up these three women, a mom and her two kids. Now we got the CBS affiliate that did a story that kind of really, let's just watch it.
Stockton police are searching for the suspects in a vicious attack Friday against two teenage sisters. New at 5, CBS 13's Angela Musallam is live in Stockton near the intersection of these two avenues where this attack took place during a vigil of all things. Angela?
Well, Sam, police say a group of protesters all wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts were standing right in this area. They were holding a protest and a vigil remembering Kobe Friday. He's the man who was shot and killed by Stockton police last month for disobeying officers' commands to drop his handgun. Meanwhile, two Caucasian sisters reportedly exited this Red Robin restaurant when they passed through the protest and were then attacked. Police say they're now reviewing surveillance video, trying to figure out who started all this violence. What was supposed to be a peaceful protest remembering Kobe Friday turned into a vicious brawl directed against two sisters last week.
Our understanding that Friday night's protest, from briefings that we've received, involved several out-of-towners.
Tonight, Stockton police are searching for the suspects in a vicious attack Friday against two teenage sisters. Tonight, Stockton police are searching for the suspects in a vicious attack Friday against two teenage sisters. New at 5, CBS 13's Angela Musallam is live in Stockton near the intersection of these two avenues where this attack took place during a vigil of all things. Angela?
Well, Sam, police say a group of protesters all wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts were standing right in this area. They were holding a protest and a vigil remembering Kobe Friday. He's the man who was shot and killed by Stockton police last month for disobeying officers' commands to drop his handgun. Meanwhile, two Caucasian sisters reportedly exited this Red Robin restaurant when they passed through the protest and were then attacked. Police say they're now reviewing surveillance video, trying to figure out who started all this violence. What was supposed to be a peaceful protest remembering Kobe Friday turned into a vicious brawl directed against two sisters last week.
Our understanding that Friday night's protests, from briefings that we've received, involved several out-of-towners that came with a different intent in mind, that instead of merely just protesting, they actually had more criminal plans in mind.
Stockton police say the protesters claim to be connected with the Black Lives Matter movement and were protesting recent officer-involved shootings against blacks. According to police, the two female victims say they felt the attack was racially fueled because they were white. Police aren't releasing any details about what led up to the attack, but say the sisters suffered non-life-threatening injuries to their face and body. Stockton police say there were officers assigned to keep an eye on the protest Friday, but say they didn't see the attack. No charges have been filed as the San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office waits to receive the police report.
We're very disappointed that this is happening, but we're also working to move forward to get to the bottom of this.
There's no formal Black Lives Matter group in Stockton, and we checked with the Sacramento BLM chapter, which says it has nothing to do with this protest or attack. And there's a $10,000 cash reward leading up to an arrest. Stockton police say they're actively investigating this attack, including one man who took to social media boasting about hitting one of the sisters.
Okay, that story came like 4 days after the violence, right? So they only said two women. There were three women involved in that assault. Three white women were beat up by a large crowd of Black Lives Matter protesters. And that took them 4 or 5 days to figure out that there was something weird happening there. It happened on Friday night. I'm making this on a Thursday. And then when they did, they marginalized it. There was one line in there. They said, well, we're trying to figure out who started it. Oh, man, we're going to put that one in the Hall of Fame. But my favorite part in that video, of course, is the stuff we didn't see. The guy did a Facebook video, but he took it down for some reason. But there's a newspaper called, I think it's called the Stockton News Record or the Stockton Record. Here's what they said about what this guy said on his Facebook page. The protester said he participated in the assault in a video that was broadcast live on his Facebook page moments after the attack occurred. Quote, this is what he said. Them little white girls got beat up, he said. He was laughing. Quote, I ran up on them little white bitches, got my little hit in, and I dipped off. I got lost in the crowd. I had to get my one hit in. These women are talking about this horrific assault, kicking, punching, threatening while they're on the ground. That's not a big deal. Nobody in Charlotte think that's a big enough deal to mention. The people at CBS are very careful to say, well, we called the Black Lives people in San Francisco and they said we're not affiliated. Oh, as if Black Lives Matter is now like the Rotary Club, where you get a membership card, where you pay dues, where you go through a secret initiation and everybody pats you on the back. No, that's not what Black Lives Matter is.
Please.
And how easy it is to forget things like what we just saw at the Democratic National Convention. A whole thousands and thousands of people standing up, chanting Black Lives Matter, knowing full well it stands for racial hostility, black on white hostility, black on Asian hostility, black on gay, black on young, black on old. And they were chanting that as they glorified the mothers of these criminals. You know, when I was looking for this, when I was looking for the video on Stockton, it's down, and it doesn't. Maybe somebody out there will have better luck than I did finding it. But when I was looking for the video, of course, Mr. Investigative Reporter, I went to this little thing called Google, typed in Black Lives Matter assault, Stockton. But even when you put the word Stockton in, I was still kind of, I mean, if anybody would know about this crap, it would be the people who watch this channel and me, right? Anyway, so I put that in. I was astonished how many of these examples I had forgotten about. One after another, episodes of violence connected to Black Lives Matter, one after another. Boom, 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 boom. If you want to go and count them, they're in the hundreds. And now we have one more in Charlotte, we have one more in Stockton, and that's all just like, well, we're still trying to figure out what everybody's so angry about. In the meantime, I mean, there's still black criminality wildly out of proportion in the rest of the country. Nobody seems to be connecting the dots on that. Nobody seems to think that makes any difference about anything. How about in LA? Check out this story.
Allegedly stirring up trouble overnight in South LA. The LAPD called it 2 crime scenes.
NBC4's Tony Guignard has been getting answers from police since 4:30 this morning. And Tony, they're still looking for a suspect here.
Yes, there were 4 suspects. One is still on the run. A couple of the sergeants here at LAPD called these robberies crimes of opportunity. There were 2 robberies in the area of 37th and Ruth Ellen Street in the Exposition Park area. They prompted police to set up a perimeter as they searched for the 4 robbery suspects. All of them were told under the age of 15. At 9:25 last night, there was an assault with a deadly weapons call. A man had been approached by the suspects. One of those suspects had a gun. The victim's car keys were taken. Minutes later, another call came in about a block away. More police responded. They arrived. The suspects scattered. A second suspect was caught there. A perimeter was set up and a K-9 unit was brought in. The police K-9 tracked a third suspect, found him hiding underneath a car. That teenager allegedly refused to comply with orders. The K-9 went in and got him out, biting him in the process. So 3 suspects that were detained have been arrested on robbery-related charges. A weapon reportedly used in the first robbery was not recovered, so police believe the 4th suspect who got away may have been the one who had a gun. Now, police also believe that the suspects are from neighboring jurisdictions, part of a larger group of about 10 young people who arrived here on a bus.
So first the lady says, we got 4 people under arrest. 4 people are rampaging through a neighborhood of LA. Then at the end, did you hear how many people were really there? 10. They all came in on a bus. How often do we hear that? These buses, man. Buses and bus passes? No bueno. And they were all black. They were just rampaging through a neighborhood, rioting and beating anybody and robbing anybody they could find. And that's... What I forget what the anchor said at first. She said something like they were stirring up trouble. Oh, stirring up some trouble. Oh, it sounds like around this part of the world they have something called Mischief Night, the night before Christmas, where the kids used to take eggs and throw them at people's house. That's stirring up trouble. Assaulting people with guns is not stirring up trouble. That's assaulting people with guns. And yesterday in the news also out of St. Paul. Do you remember Ray Woodstrand? He's the white kid, moved into a black neighborhood of St. Paul, went out to meet the fellas one night. They beat the hell out of him. He now has permanent brain damage. And by the way, that permanent brain damage, he was out driving a car, got into a car accident. So somebody got hurt. So this damage to Ray Woodstrand of St. Paul is kind of reverberating into the future. Anyway, a white woman moved into the same neighborhood, just a couple blocks from Ray. She walked into her house one night. There's supposed to be, they have 4 guys in a crew of 4 people. She was a white person in a black neighborhood. Of course she had tons of money. Of course she had tons of jewelry. Of course she had tons of things they could steal. Of course. That's how white people roll. They're in the house. I don't know what happened to the lookout, but this chick walked right in on a burglary. They're taking all of her stuff. When she got there, it was like, oh man, what's wrong with this white chick? She doesn't have any stuff in the house. She walked in and was like, oh great, this is fantastic. At least we'll get something out of this. They got her purse, her cards, the whole thing. They're taking her stuff. She's running down the street after them, saying, "Give me my stuff back." They killed her. They were in court yesterday for this. The lawyers are going, no, my client didn't do nothing. Girl just basically killed herself, I guess. How many of these do you want? I mean, I'm tempted to shove about all of today's stuff in there, but I want to save some for individual stuff because there's some really nasty business going on around in the rest of the country. Okay, one more. Chicago. I think this is Chicago. 3 black kids go rape a woman. Boom. All under 15 years old. In New Jersey, a cop sees a bunch of black people burglarizing a warehouse. He confronts them, starts to arrest them, and all of a sudden he's hit on the back of the head, knocked out when he was assaulted even more. Now he's got some head injuries, hopefully not brain injuries. That was 2 nights ago. Last night in Philadelphia, a couple of cops responding to a call, they get attacked with knives. Boom. And so this heightened level of black criminality doesn't have anything to do with anything. I mean, there's only one talking head on TV, Rudy Giuliani, last night that I heard. They're talking about, like, Geraldo Rivera goes, "Well, we've got to do something about this because we've got 763 black people shot." I don't know what time frame he was talking about. Could have been yesterday, for all I know, by police. But Geraldo did not use my favorite phrase. And without it, his sentence is meaningless. 793 people shot for no reason whatsoever. Why didn't you say that, Geraldo? You're a lawyer. You think cops are just shooting black people for no reason whatsoever? Rudy Giuliani came on next and he set Geraldo straight. So Rudy said, listen, you want to know why more black people get shot by cops? It's because black people are committing more crimes, at least 7 times more. So Rudy now is like the designated truth teller on Fox News while everybody else, well, Kim and Kevin Jackson, everybody else kind of dances around and wants to talk about charter schools and poverty. I'll tell you the truth, I haven't had the nerve to turn on MSNBC or CNN. I just haven't. Because I'm just sick. I just don't have the gumption, at least in the last 24 hours, to hear all these clowns, all these people in denial, deceit, and delusion try to explain to me what made the black kids angry.